First, I want to just get started, Judy. Tell us a little bit about yourself and share with the community all that you're doing and how you got to use Workflowy.
So my original career was as an occupational therapist, teaching people the skills for life. And when the insurance companies started making us aware that we had to do what they said, I decided to start my own company. So in 2001, I started Always Organized. And since then, I've been teaching people organizing both physical and digital. And when I joined a training program to become certified in the productive environment method, we started using Workflowy. So when I started using Workflowy, the very first thing that we used it for was to create a list for all of the files in our filing cabinets, so that if we weren't here or something happened to us, we could keep it digitally, we could print out a physical list of it. I could tell anyone, anywhere, anytime what was in my filing cabinet, what file to go to, what number it was, and I could keep it. I could keep as many different names for the things as I wanted to. Let me just show you. Let me put that on the screen. So here is the actual list. And I can scroll down this list, but I can also search. So if I come to the search box and search a term, it will show me anything that's here in this list, no matter how I name it. So I could call it vehicle or auto or AAA or membership or repairs. I could find anything in seconds just by using the search box. So that's been super fun to have as one of my tools. So it started from there, and then I just kept finding more and more ways that I could use the tool. And I use other tools. I'm a bright, shiny penny girl too, and I like a lot of different things, but I really like to understand how things work under the hood. And one of the resources that you'll get today is a list of all kinds of ways that I've actually used it, and I have items for it in my own personal Workflowy account.
Awesome. So I'm super excited to share the video with you.
Workflowy, it's a simple, flexible, and infinitely nesting note-taking system. It allows you to grab information and manage it quickly. It's a list-based note-taking application that's flexible and easy to use. It allows you to drill down and focus on one thing at a time. It works on all platforms: PC, Mac, web, mobile, phones, tablets. It's everywhere, and it's very simple to use. There's 3 big areas we need to understand in working with Workflowy: how we capture information, how we search for information, and how we share and collaborate on information. The best way for me to show you Workflowy is just to get started. So we're inside a demonstration account here in Workflowy, and you can see that the cursor is flashing next to a bullet. Now, I haven't entered anything in this bullet yet. There's nothing inside this bullet, and you can tell that because this bullet is simply gray. There's no shadow around it. If you look down at the bullet, what is Workflowy, you can see it has a little gray shadow around the bullet. And that means that there's things inside the bullet. You can see when I hover over the bullets above, that little caret doesn't show up. But when I hover over what is Workflowy, the little caret appears. I can do one of 2 things. I can turn the caret down, which will show me what's inside, all on this same page. Let me undo that. Or I can click on the bullet itself, and that drills it down so that I only see that one item. I find this tremendously helpful to concentration, focus, and productivity because I only see this one item. Now, the other items haven't gone anywhere. They're just not visible right now. So I can add information, I can add bullets to this, I can indent, and I can add children to different bullets so that I can make a nested list. So say here I wanted to add another item, but I want it to be a child, and this Workflowy is a list-based, is the parent. So now if I just hit the tab key, you can see that I've indented, and I can just type 1, and then I can type 2, and if I want to have 2 have children, I can tab again, and I can put sub, and I can just keep going. And I can, if I close number 2, you can see now 2 has a caret next to it. You can see there's the shadow. So I have number 1 that doesn't have anything in it, and I have number 2 that has things in it. So now if I close this, you can see that this item has bullets underneath it. We have the caret, we have the shadow, so we're all set. Well, there's no better way to give today's talk than to jump inside Workflowy and show you how it works. Hopefully this will give you the information that you need to decide if this is a tool that can become part of your key productivity system. So this is the top level of this note. You can see there's a breadcrumb trail here that has higher levels, but I'm drilling down to just talk about my Workflowy presentation here. So I have my top level, select this text. I can change the color of this. I can add a background highlight to it. So I can do a lot of things to make this more visually appealing to the way I like to see things in my account. I've added a note to this by hovering over the three-dot menu and finding Add Note. And if I click on Add Note, it brings me right here to the end of this note, and I can add more text. The great thing about adding notes, notes can be instructions for a list here inside of Workflowy. So if there's something that you need to know or something that'll help you to identify what this bullet is all about, you can put it in a note. You don't need to add notes, but you can. At the basic level, when you open a Workflowy account, you're going to be presented with something that looks kind of like this, a blank page. Now, you might get a little nervous seeing a blank page and wondering if you did something wrong, but this is exactly what you're supposed to see when you're inside your Workflowy account for the first time and you haven't populated it yet with anything. So we're going to go back on our breadcrumb list, back to the list we were at before. And you can see here that going down the list, the next bullet is something called work, and the one after that is called personal. That's what they recommend that you add as your first two bullets in Workflowy, so that you can separate all of your work items under this bullet and all of your personal items under this bullet. Now, I used to do it that way. I don't do it that way anymore because I have other categories that I use, but this is a really helpful way to start. Just thinking about, well, is it a work thing? Is it a personal thing? And where would it go? But you can create whatever lists you want, whatever bullets that you find helpful in your system. You can see that in the personal bullet, the bullet is just gray. In the next bullet called skills capture, there's a little shadow around the bullet. If I go to this bullet and I hover my mouse over it, you can see that the little caret appears. If I turn this down, it will reveal all of the items inside this bullet. You can also see there's a 3-button more button here. If I click on that, it will give me more options that I can do with this bullet. But for now, let's just turn this caret down and see what happens. So now we have this item open and we can see that I've typed in text. I've formatted some of the text to be bold. I've formatted some of the text to have color to it. And all of that is available right from this screen. Don't need to go anywhere else. Highlight the text that you want, and you'll come to this pop-out menu, which allows you to do headings, paragraphs, bold, underline, italics, links. You can highlight the text with background color, or you can come here and you can select a color for the text. If I click on that, you can see that now instead of black text, I have blue text. So there are 3 structures for your information here inside of Workflowy. You have the first view, which is the bullet view, which you have parent topics and then children underneath, and then you can just keep indenting and indenting infinitely to categorize your information and chunk it down into smaller and smaller groups. You have a board view, Kanban board view, which is just like you see in Trello, where you have different columns where you can drag and drop items between the columns to organize the data from not started to doing to done. You also, this is a new feature that's just recently been added, where you have a to-do list, and the to-do list has check-off boxes. This is just a screenshot, so I'll show you how to use these. When you create a list in to-do list view, you see you have a checkbox. Completing the checkbox completes the item. Now this is a nested view, so if I complete the top level, it will complete it by graying out everything underneath it. But you can see the checkboxes still remain for the sub items under this list. So if this is something that I need to complete the sub items to get to the main item, I would check those individual boxes, and those items individually will be marked as complete. But let me go back. If I complete the higher level item, all of them will be marked as complete. And I always have the option to show or hide completed items by coming to this little blue check mark next to the search box and clicking on it. Clicking on it now will make all of those items be hidden. Clicking on it again will return those items so that I can see them. Now, before we would have to go to the three-dot menu and find incomplete and check that. But with this view, just checking on the box again will return all of those items to view. Our next category, and we're going to turn down the caret here, is to talk about how we organize in Workflowy. So I created a list for how to replace your vital documents. It's part of a project that I'm doing for my book. And you can see that things aren't really in any order here. I just typed them in as I thought about what they were. Now, if I wanted to organize that, I can simply just grab the bullet and drag and drop them until I have them in the order that I want to see them. So here I created an alphabetized list by just dragging and dropping the bullets in that list until they were in the order that I wanted to see them. So any way that you want to organize it to make it meaningful to you. Now our next screenshot is a course that I'm writing. So what I've done is I've divided it into different sections and I've added color to give me context. So I know that this color is session 1, this color is session 2, this color is session 3, and so forth and so on. So I can organize the data, and you can see that there's data inside each of these elements, but the color is helping me to stay on track. If you're a visual person and color helps you, you can certainly color any of your items. You can bold them, you can italicize them, underline them, make them meaningful to you. So next, here inside Workflowy, another way to add context is to add filters. So there's two kinds of filters. There's hashtag filters and there's @ filters. So much like you would use in Evernote or some other tool where you're allowed to add hashtags, you can add hashtags here inside Workflowy. There's two kinds, the #, and when we use the #, I think of things. So if this is an administrative task, I might use the hashtag admin. Can't use any spaces in hashtags, so #, whatever the word is. Or maybe I need to make some phone calls and I want to organize a list that I can search by that hashtag. So if I add hashtag call and I search that up here in the search box later on, I'll find all of the items that are marked call in my list. So here you can see I can use my name, I could use Steve's name, and I can filter based on that hashtag. So any items that I added Steve's name to would show up in a list if I searched this. If I type this into the search box, it would give me a list of all the instances where I've marked @Steve. So next on our list, we want to be able to share. How do we do that? Every item in Workflowy has this little 3-button kebab, more menu, to the left of the item. If you hover your mouse over it and click on it, you'll see this pop out. And it gives you all the options that you have in terms of what you can do with that item. The one that we're looking for here is called Share. So we click on Share, and I'll show you what that looks like. When you click on Share, you're presented with this screen where you can share a secret link. So you click on Enable Link Sharing, invite the people that you want, determine the level of access that you want to give them, full access, view only, just like you do in other tools, and then invite them. Now say that you've shared a list and all of a sudden they've left the company, or they don't need it anymore, or you don't want to share it with them anymore for whatever reason. You do the same thing. You'd open this menu again. Instead of this word saying share, it will now say unshare. Click on that and you'll be presented with this screen. And here's the link that we created to share this. All we need to do is click unshare. And now that list will just disappear from their Workflowy account because it's no longer a shared list. Now, why would I use a shared list? When I onboard new clients and I'm teaching them how to use Workflowy, often I provide them with a copy of what I want them to put in their account, and then I share it with them for a period of time. So once their questions are answered and they're confident in using Workflowy, what I have them do is I have them duplicate the list that I created for them. So now they have a copy that's not shared with me, and I have them go back and delete the shared copy. So now they no longer share that copy, and they have their own setup in Workflowy, private just to them. We've already learned how to share bullets with other people, and that's one way to get information out of Workflowy. But another way to get information out of Workflowy is to export it. This is great if you want to use it in a Google Doc, in a Word doc, you want to put it in your blog editor, you want to put it in Evernote, OneNote, Google Keep, wherever you want to put it. If you want to export the information, this is what you do. Come to the three-dot menu, the kebab, click on it, and hit the export button right here. It'll prepare an export of everything that's under that bullet. So if you have your whole account open and you're in the home screen, you may find this will be a very long list and it will take a very long time to populate. It's probably not the best way to do this. But doing individual items, you can select this, and this has a couple of different options. You can keep it formatted just as it is now. You can select plain text, which will change the way the information is formatted, or you can choose OPML. Any one of those choices. But I'm going to stay with the formatted. And in any of these choices, if you copy this information, so on a PC, it would be Control-C, and on a Mac, it would be Command-C. So I'm going to do that now. Control-C. And then I'm going to open up a Word document. Here's my Word document, and I'm going to paste Control-V from the PC, or Command-V from the Mac. And you can see all of the things that were in that item, including the links, were all brought over here to this Word document. It works the same in Google Docs. It's a great way to get information out of Workflowy. Now, in the reverse, if this were information that I wanted to do the reverse, I wanted to take it from a Word document and put it in Workflowy, I could put my mouse on the page, do Control-A, Control-C, and then go back to Workflowy and paste it into Workflowy, Control-V or Command-V. And then all of these items that are already populated will now be part of my Workflowy account. So let's compare the three plans in Workflowy. There's three ways that you can have an account. You can have a free account, you can have a paid account, or you can have a Teams account. The free account gives you 250 of these bullets every month. So every bullet, the ones inside here, the ones that you see on the screen, 250 every month. And it starts over every month. So you get a new 250 every month. So as you're building out, if you're not using it for a ton of things, 250 may be fine. But you can increase that number by inviting other people to look at Workflowy. So if someone joins Workflowy as a result of your sharing the information with them, you get extra items in your account. So the more people who join as a result of you sharing the good news about Workflowy, the more items you have every month. Now in the Pro plan, you get all of the things in the free plan, but you get unlimited things as well. So let's take a look at that. So you get access to all the features, you get unlimited bullets, you get unlimited file uploads, and full sharing options. And a great feature in the paid plan is that you can back up your items every day to Dropbox. So if you're afraid that you might delete something that's important to you, it's backed up every single day to Dropbox if you join those two accounts together. I do it, And it's great so that if I ever have a problem, I know that I have backup. And if you know anything about me, I'm all about creating multiple levels of backup. So this is a great way to do it. And you get premium support. So if you have a problem, you're at the head of the queue for getting results on solving your problem. Their support is great. And then the team accounts are much like the personal accounts, but you have unlimited item creation, unlimited file uploads. You get one-on-one team setup help. You get simple team administration, and you get auto backup to Dropbox. And then there's a link to create the teams. So I shared with you before about the 3 ways to look at information. I thought that this would be a great opportunity to look at the 3 plans in a Kanban view, side by side. So in this view, let's look at them that way. So now I've expanded my columns here in my Kanban view, and you can see that all those things that were bullets in the other view are now listed in columns. And if there's a lot, there's a scroll bar. So if it goes beyond the page that you can see, but it's only the middle one here that has a scroll bar. But now you can look apples to apples. You can see that there's a 250 bullet limit in the free plan, unlimited bullets in the pro plan, and unlimited in the team plan. So that's pretty cool. If you want to see things side by side, this Kanban view can't be beat. I'm frequently asked, can I use this with the system that I use? How can I use it with GTD? Or how can I use it with 1-minute to-do list manager or with the productive environment system? So what I've got here coming for you next is all of the systems we can use inside of Workflowy. These are just examples. If you have some other system that you use, you can absolutely customize it to use it here inside of Workflowy. Are you a bullet journal person? Well, let's look at bullet journals. If I open this up, you can see I have a bullet journal for 2023 with all of the months that have yet to come, because I've already taken care of January, I've archived it. But if I wanted to see the bullets for February, here are the bullets for February. So there's a dated entry for every single day in February. So if I want to add things to this bullet for today, I can click on it, I can indent, I can add all of my items for today. And then if I'm done entering things for today, I can click on the kebab and I can check off complete, which grays it out. Now, if I don't want to see the days that are already completed, I can come to the upper right-hand corner of the screen and I can check this checkbox. And now you see that that item has been hidden. It's not gone, it's just hidden. And I can click it again and that entry comes back. And if I completed this in error, if I still have entries to do, I can come here and I can check incomplete. And now that item is back just as it was before. So that's bullet journal. For those of you that use the GTD method, getting things done, that David Allen teaches, this is how we would structure it here in Workflowy. The inbox, the next actions, the calendar entries, projects, waiting for, someday maybe, and references. And I also included an image of the GTD workflow. This item is a little bit different in that you can see there's a little square, and there's not a dot, there's a square. This is because this item actually exists elsewhere in my Workflowy account. I created a mirror of it and I added it here. If I interact with this here, every instance of this mirrored item will change to reflect whatever changes I do. If I'm sharing it with my assistant and my assistant changes it, every instance of this mirrored bullet will show everywhere in real time. So that's a great way to keep up to date on calendar entries, on all sorts of things where it's important that you have the most up-to-date information everywhere. All right, next let's talk about the Eisenhower matrix. You know what Steve's talked about as far as the Eisenhower matrix is concerned. You have 4 levels of important. Important and urgent, important, not urgent, not important and urgent, not important and not urgent. So those are 4 categories. This is a bulleted list, so you could drill down to any one of these tab in and add all of the items that belong in each one of these categories. You can also, I just want to show you these side by side. You could absolutely change the view here. Let me just show you that. I could change this from bullets to a board view. Or I could have this as the bulleted list. And when I open this one, I could say, well, I want to see it both ways and see which one I like better. So this is just a copy of this one. So this upper one is in the bullets. This one is in the Kanban view. I can look at them any way I want. I can close them up. And that's the Eisenhower matrix. Kanban board, same thing. What if I wanted to make a group of lists for today and I want an inbox where I put my ideas, things that I'm going to do, things I'm actually doing, and things that are done. It's a pretty simple way to use a Kanban board, and the bigger your board gets and the more pluses, the more items you add, the longer the list will become. And if you click on that and open it in full screen, you can see that you have a lot of territory to work with, and you can just keep hitting the plus sign under any of these lists, and items from any list could be, you just simply click on it and drag it across to the other list that you want it to go to. So next, let's look at task lists. Simply a list of bulleted notes for tasks. I can create copies, I can create mirrors, I can add hashtags to them, I can add notes to them. One thing we didn't talk about was the ability to add date context. So if I type in the word today and hit the tab key, it will populate with today's date. So let's do that right here. Pretty wild. I love this feature because if I type tomorrow, so let's add another item and let's type tomorrow. And hit tab, and now I have tomorrow's date. I love this. You can type date context for next week and the week after, and it will continue to populate date. So if I write next Tuesday, you can see that next Tuesday is February 28th. What a great way to add dates. I didn't have to look up a calendar. I didn't have to do anything. So natural language is a great way to add power to your Workflowy account. So let's look at the to-do list now. The to-do list is a new feature, and you can create any to-do that you want by coming to the 3-button menu and selecting from the list that now you want a to-do. I've already done that here, so let's close that. And every item now that I enter that's in the to-do list will be entered as a new to-do. And I can type in whatever I want here as a to-do list. This one has items inside of it, so let's look at that. So these are things, if I were going to be buying things, what would I be getting at Staples and what would I get at Office Depot? Next, let's talk about time blocking. How many of you use time blocks? Time blocks let you schedule activities for specific times of the day. It helps you to be productive because you're writing down what you're actually doing during that block of time during the day. So there are a group of bullets for that. So here's 6 time blocks for Monday, Tuesday. Each day of the week has their own set of blocks. I can create a new time block for every week. I can just create them for certain days if I don't do it on the weekends. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So create the items that you want to work on, and that will help your productivity. The Pomodoro technique is next. I've included a link for you to actually turn on an online timer while you work on your Pomodoros. If you haven't used the Pomodoro technique, it's a productivity system where you select a task that you're going to work on. You work on it for 25 minutes. You take a break, go back for 25 minutes, take a break. You do this 4 times. At the end of the 4th round, you take a 15 to 20 minute break. It's a really good practice. It makes you get up and move. It reminds you to take bio breaks. It's really a good system. So you can use the timer right here from the link right here in Workflowy. So if I clicked on that, it will take me to a new window where I can set the timing and the sequence for my Pomodoro. So pick the one you want and go create some Pomodoros. Next, for those of you that follow Barbara Hemphill like I do, you have the Productive Environment 5-step process. State your vision, eliminate your obstacles, commit your resources, select your tools, and sustain your success. So if you follow Barbara's system, you know it's circular, and you can come to this list to help you figure out where you're stuck in your system, eliminate the obstacles, and create success for yourself. And last on our list here is Stephen Covey, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And you'll see here we have a habits board. And here again, we have it shown to us in a list view. This is something that may be best viewed as a Kanban board. So we come to the menu button here, click on it, and we'll change our view from bullets to board. And let's look at that all by itself on the screen. So now you can see we have all of his steps outlined for us right here on the screen. And again, we can click on the plus button underneath any of these items and add more items to it. And then we can drag and drop things from one list to the next. We can do that in the bullet view, but we can also do that here in the Kanban board view. There you have it, a whole host of ways that you can use Workflowy in your life. It's important to remember that you're not alone. People are creating templates for different kinds of things in Workflowy all the time. And if you visit workflowy.com and you look at the bottom of the website, there's a link to their templates. You can find templates for personal productivity, for business, for coding, all sorts of different templates that you can add to your account. I just couldn't wrap up today without telling you a couple other cool things that you really should look into. Do you use Chrome as your browser? Well, if you do, Workflowy has a Chrome web clipper that you can add to your browser, and you can clip links to your Workflowy account. Now, it's not the Evernote web clipper, but it will put the links in your Workflowy account. So if you're doing research and you want to be able to go back to certain resources and you need the links, instead of bookmarking everything and hunting through lists of hundreds of bookmarks, you can put them right into Workflowy where you need them. So lastly, turn on the keyboard shortcuts. Go into the settings. There's a button there that you can turn on that says, help me to learn the keyboard shortcuts. And if you do this every day and learn a couple, you'll become so much faster and more proficient inside Workflowy. It'll really be worth your time to do that. So I hope you liked our presentation today, and I look forward to answering your questions.
All right, let's get started with some questions here. So Dorothy's asking, can you link files that are in Google Docs as a way of accessing by category?
You can put the link to any Google Doc right into Workflowy, and when you click on the link, it will take you right to your Google Doc. The other thing that you can do is if you go to that 3-dot menu in front of an item in Workflowy, here, let me share my screen and let's look at Workflowy. And if I go to the bullet in front of any of these items in Workflowy, I can upload a file. So any place that I want to, if I want to add a Word doc, a Google Doc, and I have it on my computer, I can click on upload file. It will take me to my file explorer, and I can look, I can upload that document just like you would upload to many other platforms. So you can put it in there anytime that you need to.
Awesome. Awesome. Does Workflowy generate mind maps? Prima is asking.
So you asked a great question. Let me turn this off and let me share with you. Share screen.
You go, girl, with all this. Like, you're so organized. I love it.
So we all used MindMeister in our 25 days with Steve, and this is MindMeister. This is my account. This is a personal account. And what I did was I took the list from Workflowy when I created it for this presentation, and I uploaded it to a blank mind map. And this is what I got. Of course, I formatted this somewhat, but you can see that this is all of the things that we talked about today in outline view, and we'll provide you with the link for the mind map too. So you'll be able to look it up.
Okay. On the free account, are there any limitations on links included?
I think you have 100 megabytes that you can upload. You get 250 items per month. And that adds, you get 250 new items every month. I'm not sure if that answers the question, but
well, in the resources you have the pricing guide, so I'd also defer to that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. We're going in the handout that you'll get with the follow-up email. You'll be able to look at side by side each of the plans and what they cover.
Okay. Gwen's asking what type of individual or business would benefit most from this?
I think everyone could benefit from using Workflowy because it helps you organize your thoughts. You can do brain dumps. You can create lists where you just drag and drop things until you get them the way you want. It's not like in a document where you have to highlight the text and clip it. You just drag and drop the bullets. Every bullet can be dragged in the Kanban view, in the to-do list view. You can mark things as complete either by using the to-do list or within individual items. So there's lots of ways to do that.
All right.
I think everybody would benefit, really.
Can Workflowy replace an app like Evernote?
So I use Evernote too, and I'm a certified Evernote expert. And I'll tell you that I use Evernote in a different way than I use Workflowy. So when I'm writing an article or when I'm doing some research, I use the Evernote web clipper and I vacuum everything into Evernote. I can put links to Evernote here in Workflowy if I want to, and I can go directly to that Evernote note. But when I'm doing bigger things like, big documents or things like that, I take them and put them into Evernote, and I do much the same organizing structure in Evernote that I do here in Workflowy.
Is there a way of classifying items on the to-do list? Example, Aaron's home specific project.
So I would use hashtags. So hashtag this project, hashtag that project, hashtag home, hashtag call, hashtag buy, hashtag, at the carpenter's name or the plumber's name, and then when you search in the search box with that @ symbol, you'll be able to pull up every item, no matter where it is in your Workflowy account. If you're on the home screen, you'll find every instance of where that appears. So if you have to-dos for, say, for example, I was working with April and I had to-dos for April in several different bullets inside my Workflowy account. Now you can't see those on the home screen, but if I do a search from the home screen of @April, all of those things will show up. And if I have things that are for today and I add today as a date context, only the ones for today will show. So it's very searchable.
It's amazing how the hashtag has become such a prevalent part of our life, right? It started with Twitter and then there's this fear. So it's amazing how it's used and how really we need to learn how to use hashtags, friends, because they're in applications.
I have a contractor who organizes her day on her iPad in Workflowy, and every project that she has, she adds in the carpenter's name as a hashtag, the plumber's name as a hashtag, the town inspector. And when she needs to see, well, what do I need to talk to the plumber about? She gets a list of all of the projects. And when you've done that, you can save that as a search. So if I search @April, there's a little star. Let me show you that. Let's just stop sharing this and let's share Workflowy again. So when I click on an item, you'll see right here at the upper right-hand side of the screen next to that completed check mark. If I click on this star, you see this now becomes a starred item. So things that I work on all the time, I can put here in the starred items. So I don't have to search through the whole list of everything that's in my account. I can just search these favorites. If I don't need this to be in a starred favorite anymore, I just uncheck the star and it's still in my account. It's just that I won't see it in the starred view. That's a great feature. I use that all the time, so I don't have to look everywhere.
Awesome. Are there integrations that import data into the calendar app?
There is a Chrome. If you're a Chrome browser user, there is a Chrome extension that you can get from the Chrome store that you can add, that you can do items into your Google Calendar. I don't use it, but I know it's there.
Will you provide the links mentioned? I'm hearing of some of other productivity methods. Will you provide the links to the items? So I have to tell you, the resource is chock full of information. So at the end, all those link recommendations are in the resources. So yes, you'll get those.
Right.
If there's time, I'd like to hear more about Judy's experience with the productive environment system. I've never heard of it before.
So when I started training to become a professional organizer and productivity consultant, I took training from Barbara Hemphill. Barbara Hemphill is known as the paper tiger lady. So she was one of the first ones talking about organizing paper in your office and at home. So I took her training, and her training is based on 5 steps. So she tells us that any problem can be solved by answering those 5 steps. And the 5 steps are in the presentation.
All right. What software did you use to make the video?
Camtasia. Thank you, Gord.
Can you see who sees what? Can you limit? So is there like restrictions? So if you were sharing a Workflowy with me, could you restrict what I see?
I can share just one item in my account if I want to. If I only want to have one list that says April, and because every item has a button in front of it, let's go back and just look at Workflowy again. So let's go back to the home. Every button here, say I only wanted to share this one with April. I could enable a link. I can invite April, just April. I can give her full access, or I can say she can edit, or she can just view it. And then I would invite her. She would get a link, and then she could view that one. If I decide at some point that I don't want to share this with April anymore, this word share would become unshare. I would click that, her access to that bullet would be gone. So in the video, I think I mentioned that when I had clients that I worked with showing them Workflowy, I would often make a shared link for them to what items I wanted them to put in their Workflowy account after they opened it. And then we would share those links for a period of time so that they could learn how to use Workflowy. If they were having difficulty with something, I could see on my end, because it was a shared bullet, what they were having trouble with. And we could get on a Zoom call, or I could go meet with them, and we could figure out what the problem was and get it solved. Once they felt like everything is good, we don't need to share with Judy anymore, I could either on my end unshare it, or often what I would tell them to do is just make a duplicate of the item and then delete the one that I had shared with them. Then they're sure that the copy that they have is in no way shared with me. And then I can delete it on my end if I want, or I can keep it.
Awesome. When I go to workflowy.com, I automatically get my file list.
When you start a Workflowy account, you get what I showed you when I clicked on that first button. It will be a blank page. You add to it the buttons, the items that you want. If you want a list of the files in your file cabinet, you can create that. If you want to create a list of all the antiques that you own, you can do that. If you want a list of all of your social media accounts, you could do that. If you want to make a list of projects that you're working on, or you want to write 10 things, articles. I mean, I outlined my book, the Beyond the Estate Plan Guide. I wrote the outline for that book. I wrote the outline for my Gmail book, all in Workflowy.
Is there a way to prioritize tasks, events, etc.?
Sure. Use hashtags.
Uh,
Mark your priority levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, or one of the things that I teach is the 1 minute to-do list manager, and he has 3 levels of importance. So critical now, things that need to be done today or your hair will catch fire. Opportunity now. So if you finished all the work you needed to do today, you have a list that you can promote items from that is things that need to be done in the next 7 to 10 days. And then there is a list called over the horizon. So that's things that are more than 10 days out. And so if you use those 3 hashtags, you could sort by priority pretty quickly.
Dan saying, I don't see the templates on the home page. I was placed right into the welcome page upon signing. Does that sound about right?
So you go to workflowy.com, not to your Workflowy account, workflowy.com to their page for their company. And at the bottom of that page, you'll see Workflowy templates.
Can 2 people collaborate live in Workflowy? Kind of like a Google Doc? Yes.
In a shared bullet, yes.
All right. I think that is a wrap. So Judy, many thanks. I really appreciate all of your hard work and time and effort. That was amazing.